Mexico is a great, diverse country that we love, with a rich history of amazing cultures, the 13th biggest economy in the world, a giving country with lots of natural beauty and talented people who are united and always ready to help each other. We guess that because President Sheinbaum, whose ancestry comes from Lithuania, doesn't have deep roots here since her parents came from Lithuania, she doesn't get that what makes this great nation so special and diverse is the mix of cultures from the big ancient civilizations like the Aztec, Maya, Totonac, Huastec, Teotihuacan, and, well, many others, along with the people who came from Europe, Spanish, French, English, and others. That mix of cultures is what gives us our identity and makes us Mexican. And of course, that forms the many Mexicos that make us who we are, like the Mexico of the North, the Southeast, the Bajío region, and more. We understand that, since the left doesn't know how to govern and does everything wrong because they are a bunch of lazy bureaucrats who don't know how to earn a single penny and only know how to spend, they try to divide people and make one group fight with another. They are following the playbook of the failed evil Cuban government, which is about to fall apart, and of the left in general, which doesn't work and has never worked, because if she were truly Mexican, she would understand that trying to make indigenous people and Spanish people fight is like my hand fighting my foot, because we are mixed, our genes are mixed, and that's what makes us who we are and makes us great. Let's look at what's really happening. The really bad job President Sheinbaum has done with money matters. Her results are awful, the numbers prove it. I don't get how they're not embarrassed about stopping the economy by messing up the basic things needed for businesses to invest. Like knowing the rules will be followed because of the rule of law. It's not enough to have an event at the Anthropology Museum and just say that now there are rules. After changing the laws about judges, private businesses want to know what to expect and that the rules are clear for their investments. But that event was going well, but it was totally ruined after the silly speech she gave in Puebla the very next day. Looking at the data from INEGI for the first quarter of 2025, where the average GDP change during their term is minus 0.8%, a recessive result once again, and inflation is super high at 4.59%. If we look at how countries in Latin America are growing, where Mexico could be one of the countries that grows the most, but sadly, even with the trade agreement with the United States and Canada, and because of how badly the current government has handled the economy, Mexico's economy is only expected to grow 1.5% by 2026. That puts us in 16th place out of 20 countries. That's terrible. Also, the government's debt is $1,082 billion, which is 59.14% of everything the country makes. This debt has gone up by 50% under this government, which only knows how to spend, and we have a deficit of 5.78% of what the country produces. Social programs as a whole add up to 987,160 million pesos, that is, 0.98 trillion, not even 10% of the total expenditure of the budget, and they do not alleviate the backlogs, especially those generated by the slowdown and/or the recession that Mexico is experiencing. The best social program is formal employment. Their model, socialism or communism, generates misery. They want that for Mexico. That's what former President López Obrador wanted to achieve. That's what the left wanted to achieve. To increase public debt by 50% and compromise the future of our children. To slow down the economy and generate misery. President Sheinbaum, if you can't, and it's evident that you can't, resign and call for elections. Have dignity and common sense. The right respects freedom, private property, and the rule of law. At its core is respect for human dignity and human rights. The right values individual effort as the engine to strengthen our great nation. The right creates growth. It's really sad to see the morning press conference led by the President Sheinbaum, acting like a cheerleader instead of a leader. She makes fun of people, divides us, and strongly defends members of her party, Morena, who are accused by the New York court of being drug traffickers, like Governor Rocha Moya, who is on leave, and others. The only interesting thing about the extraordinary national elections on June 2, 2025, is that it was possible to measure the citizen support that Morena and its allies have, which is 9.77%. That is, they are 9,770,000 citizens. We are 116 million citizens. And by the way, President Sheinbaum, head of the executive, arrived without legitimacy due to alleged electoral manipulation. See you in the midterm elections on June 6, 2027, and in the recall election. Regarding the United States National Drug Control Strategy and the alleged connection of some Morena governors to drug trafficking, specifically the accusation against Mexican politician Ruben Rocha Moya, the governor on leave from Sinaloa, for allegedly working with the Sinaloa cartel and other narco politicians who are destroying this country. We thank President Trump for helping us fight drug trafficking. We know that some political leaders are asking the United States to declare Morena, the National Regeneration Movement, as a terrorist organization due to its alleged ties to drug trafficking. President Trump signed the United States Counter-Terrorism Strategy Executive Order for his strategy to fight terrorism in 2026, and it states the following: we will continue our legal and military efforts against cartels and their members designated as terrorist organizations by the President. At the same time, we will continue to review their finances and precursor suppliers to reduce their production, movement, and profits. We will do this in cooperation with local governments when they are willing and able to work with us. If they don't want to or can't do it, we will take the necessary steps to protect our country, especially if the government in question is involved with the cartels. President Trump said that if Mexican authorities don't do their job against drug trafficking, he will. We know that this government is trying to make us poor, to control us. But there are more good people. Resist. They are leaving. Nobody benefits from a communist Mexico supposedly run by drug traffickers, with 3,200 kilometers of border with the United States.